So on this 95S10, we're going to go ahead and start the inspection process and getting ready to replace all of the components that we've inspected and found bad previously. This vehicle has unknown mileage, and the brakes are definitely going to need replacement. The upper and lower control arms are definitely worn, and the springs are making noise. So we're going to get ready and get our tools ready and the parts ready that we need to make these repairs. At this point, we're installing a brake pedal depressor to prevent fluid loss while the brake system is open during service. So we're going to start by taking off this caliper here. I've already previously gone ahead and soaked my fasteners with some penetrating oil, and now we're going to actually remove it. So we're going to start with the caliper, then we'll move on to the rotor, and then things will start to come apart. All right, so upon disassembly, I see that this spindle has a little bit of wear across it. Now we'll start taking apart the steering linkage and the upper and lower ball joint.
So I'm going to remove these 3 bolts here. That'll get our dust shield out of the way. That's something else we need to clean. Next, I'm going to remove this tie rod nut. I'm going to install this popper tool here. We'll thread that down to the end of the tie rod end. We're slugging that down and it should pop loose. Couple bolts on the bottom. Already pre-loosened these here. Single nut at the top, pretty rusted. I had to fight with it to get it loose. The nut in the upper shock bushing, which is pretty deteriorated. Now, the shock should come out. It's definitely seen better days. Once now, break that free. Oh, it's stuck on here. Now our sway bar bushing is loose. Loose bolt. And then the other piece of link here. That in entirety is the sway bar end link. Now we're ready to separate the spindle from the lower and upper ball joints. But before we do that, I have to install the spring compressor to get some tension off of it, because right now this coil spring is trying to push everything down. If I were to knock this loose, it would immediately send that falling downward. Another reason to keep these lower nuts on until we're ready to remove them. So let me do that. All right, so with this suspension setup and the available spring compressor, we've run into a conflict with the shaft diameter here and the opening in the top of the spring bucket where the shock absorber goes through. This is larger than the opening, so I had to find a spacer to take up some distance on the bottom side of the coil spring compressor to keep this away from the frame so that we can compress the spring enough to be able to get it out safely. I'm just going to go to where I start to see either the tool bottoms out or I start to see the coil spring lift away from the lower control arm, which is lifting away now, meaning I don't have anywhere near as much force pushing downward on that control arm now. So when it's it's loose, should hear a noticeable pop. There it goes. There is some pressure pushing down here. I can now separate it down. We're all good. To do here, ball joint should pop free. And the spindle's ready to lift off. And now we have lower control arm, and what's holding it up right now, instead of spring tension pushing down, the torsion from these lower control arm bushings are what's actually holding it up. So I need to relieve that tension. We can now allow the control arm to move further down and remove the spring from the vehicle. Lift up and out. This can be a tight fit with these splash shields in the way.